Greetings, fellow citizens of Disneyland. Brickey here. Today's adventure, we're looking at Web Slingers Power Bands. And to me, if you don't understand what the Web Slinger Power Band is all about, if you don't get it, well then you just don't get it. Because you're probably one of the people that are in the camp, if Walt Disney was alive. And I say this, if Walt Disney was alive, he would be dead. The concept of an attraction add-on to me is just simply brilliant. It's a novel idea for the current day to expand the footprints and the offerings of a world-class attraction. But it's really about the forward-facing theme park customer, aka kids, and people that still adapt to technology and adopt technology instead of folks that have already started to abandon technology. Believe it or not, we are all on this path in our lives where technology is exciting to us. We're inquisitive about it and we want to understand more. But each of us, and it's hard to believe if you're young, but at some point in your life's journey, you will start to turn your back on technology. You will start to abandon it. So this technology is really for those that are still adopting and adapting, moving towards the future, and not so much for those that are already beginning the abandoning process in their life cycle. And let's be honest, with the high-tech world that we live in, with the constant influx of media and the high editing from YouTube and video games, some customers simply just need more stimulation. It may be hard for you to imagine that riding inside of a world-class attraction isn't enough, but for some people, it simply isn't enough. And instead of saying, what's the matter with the kids today? Let's say, what can we do to make things better for the kids today? Because they will soon be the consumers of tomorrow. And the best news about this technology is you don't have to buy it. So if you're outraged and you have no intention of buying it, well, you're not being a citizen of Disneyland. In fact, you're being... And in my eyes, this idea would only be horrible if it was mandatory to ride an attraction. I never ever want to see a Disneyland or Disney theme park attraction globally where you go in, you buy a ticket to enjoy a day at a park, and then you have to pay more to go on an attraction or to experience a theme park attraction. These should always be bundled in with our tickets. No ride at Disneyland should ever be required to cost more to enjoy it. But I do believe in the idea of paying for an elevated experience. After all, I live in Southern California, the land of paying for elevated experiences. It doesn't matter how much money you have or how on top of the world you feel, wherever you go, there's always somebody on the other side of a rope or in a different section that you just can't get to. And to me, it makes California living like a video game where you're always just trying to level up and get to the next board. The only way I would see this technology being abusive if it became required to ride an attraction or if all attractions started to go this way. Give me a couple of game-based rides in a theme park. Give me a couple of attractions where I can pay to get a deeper experience or different experience, and I'm all on board with that concept. But as always with design, I don't want every ride to go this way because variety is the spice of my Disneyland life. So whereas most people are really concerned about paying more to get high score, and we'll get to that idea in a minute, my biggest concern is what are these things called? Wearable tech accessories? Oh, that really rolls off the tongue. And what is a wearable tech accessory? That means it could be a cuff, a pair of glasses. I mean, it could be a hat that modifies my experience. What is a wearable tech accessory? Web power band? That sounds great, but they don't use that term consistently. They also refer to it as web tech. Once again, when I go into Best Buy, I don't go, sir, I would like some of your web tech. I go, I want specifically a Sony A6 camera. One of the new iMacs, not one of the colored ones. Call me old fashioned, but I like my computer to be silver or black. I don't go into a store and say, I would like some of your Apple technology. It just doesn't have a fully materialized name. The biggest problem with this is the branding. I understand that I can pay $30 for the web band and then I add on a $35 extension for the web tech. And I don't understand, like, is the $30 idea that gets me into the game and then I'm going to keep buying other ones to put on top to be able to be 4 different characters? Because, newsflash, I can only ride this attraction once per visit currently. So I don't know how many heroes I need to be when I can only be in there for my 4.5 minute turn. But the branding on these is all off. It should be an easy, definable name so we know what you're talking about and we can easily have a conversation. Disney kind of skirts around the name in all their different articles. I have yet to really understand what these things are called. Something like a web cannon or a web blaster or an Avengers Quest handcuff, whatever you want to call it. Just give me a name that is more specific to what the item is called. And my second complaint about this device or this technology is I think it's the right product. I think it's the right idea, but I don't think right now is the right time to roll out this accessory. The idea of carrying around a device all day to me is horrible. Last night when we were recording Hammer Time, we talked about, is it weird to buy one and throw it away? Or in COVID times, wish I could buy one and just give it to a kid. I mean, I want to experience it, but I don't want to lug it. And for the concept of a 4.5 minute attraction that I only get to ride once, carrying around a tackle box full of gear, it just seems a little weird to me. And I believe, if I'm being fair to Disney Imagineering and the Disneyland Resort, this device was designed in a different time. Avengers Campus was supposed to open up summer 2020, which was an entirely different planned experience than where we sit in 2021. This to me is an AP type of concept. If you're a gamer, if you love riding games, if you love riding attractions that are this interactive, you could get your cuff, you could get your web tech, whatever it's called. You could load it up and you could just say, hey, today, let's go to the park, let's rip web slingers all day and keep seeing if we can beat that final board, if we can get a higher score. That makes sense to me when you could just say, I'm willing to keep standing in line all day long because I love playing this game. But gathering something that I have to carry around for a one-time, one-shot, 4.5 minute experience, if you just don't get it powered up properly, you could lose 30 seconds of your ride, which is about 20% of the good time. I just did that off the top of my head. I don't know if it's really 20%, but it sounds good. So I will cut Disney and Walt Disney Imagineering some slack that this was an idea that was pre-pandemic, pre-2021, something that was designed for different theme parks on a different day than what we have ahead of us. And let's hope that we get there soon so that this technology makes a little bit more sense in a world where you can ride the attraction more than once, giving you the ability to swap out with your buds so you can play it once as Rescue and once as Iron Man. And who's buying the Spider-Man extension? You get to be Spider-Man for free! Personally, I would have held back on this experience and not rolled it out an opening day. I think right now is sort of a weird time to drop this. I would have given people 6 months to ride the ride, maybe wait till around the holidays. I would have maybe waited to a time when it's possible to get multiple rides in a day and sort of use this as bait to bring back Southern California fans. Oh, you've rode web slingers, but you've never rode it as Iron Man. I just think that that would have been a better play because right now it kind of feels like too many gifts under the Christmas tree. You know what happens when you get too many things at once. You get overstimulated, you get bored with things, and you don't really know where to focus your attention. It would be weird for me to ride this attraction the first time with an accessory without enjoying it the organic way that it was meant to be the first time. How would I know how I had expanded my experience if I don't even know what the baseline of experience is? But I get it. Disneyland is a little insecure about Avengers Campus. That's why they've went so hard on food and adding in lots of different details like the rooftop shows that are designed for Star Wars Galaxy's Edge, but we just haven't got there yet. I see a little insecurity because they know that this is a very, very small land. They're opening it with one new attraction, one new restaurant, a handful of different food carts, and one main shop. It's in a space the size of classic Fantasyland, not including the Matterhorn, Small World, Fantasyland Theater, or Fantasy Fair, like old school Walt's Fantasyland. That's how big this land is. And just like a parent overcompensating on Christmas, it's like, sorry, sport. I know I haven't been available to you for the last 400 days, but let me throw a lot of stuff at you and remind you that you love me. I get it. I get where they're coming from. Hey, fans, we know you all want to go over to Disneyland, but don't forget about DCA because now you have to choose which park at the exact same price value. So here's a new land, a new ride, and a new accessory all at once. And don't forget, we've also crammed into this little spot more food than you can shake a churro at. So I truly get a little bit about the feeling insecure. Do we have enough here? Because let's be honest, there's going to be a lot of people that are going to immediately put out the YouTube videos reviewing Avengers Campus up against Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. And you really can't compare the two. even though I will, the two are really on different scales. And I feel bad for Avengers Campus that it got the smaller of the two scales, because right now, no one would argue that the Star Wars franchise is a little bit struggling trying to find its path to a Jedi. But the Avengers Marvel Cinematic Universe is red hot and shows no signs of slowing down. Probably in a different Doctor Strange multiverse, if the eastern side parking garage was built and Disneyland was able to park folks over on the east, removing the bus area that currently sits out of Disney's California Adventure, Hollywoodland would have been on the chopping block. They would have had a lot of room to grow, and we would have gotten a much different Marvel universe. But they needed to get some Marvel in the park as soon as possible because they've been holding onto this global IP that is red hot and making money hand over fist, and had no Marvel in the park other than meet and greets, which simply nobody really books a ticket or books a vacation on meeting Thor over in Launch Bay. R.I.P. So I understand the idea that Marvel is trying to pack as much of a punch as they can in this very, very small land. And I'm here for it, and I want to see it grow. And I'm all for technology that changes rides. I love the idea of increasing the re-ride factor. And in fact, I've never bought a lightsaber because, yeah, they're beautiful. The experience at Savi's is fantastic. I got to ride shotgun with my good friend Daniel Danger, but I never built a lightsaber because I buy it, I walk around Galaxy's Edge with it, and I have one fun night for $200, and then I go home wondering, what do I do with it next? However, if there was something inside of Star Wars Galaxy's Edge where my lightsaber was interactive to a game or an environment, you better believe I'd already built 13. To me, these devices are really about fun and creating different experiences, making Disneyland, Disney's California Adventure, and Avengers Campus exciting and different and new every time you go there. Which, for those of you that say, if Walt was still alive, I say this is exactly what Walt wanted his park to be. But he just didn't have the video boards, the computers, or the slingers to sell you a little bit more and to make a ride a little bit more adventurous. And yes, if he was still alive, my fact is right. He would be dead. He'd be 120, and most folks don't make it that long. And when they do, it doesn't get pretty at the end. So really, whether Walt was here or not, whether this is part of his vision or not, in a way, does it matter? Because really, currently, the vision of Disneyland, it belongs to your children. Because the future of the theme parks, it belongs to them, not to us. And anything that caters to their needs, that makes the park more fun and more exciting, that's a safe bet for Disneyland. The generations more will still find their way through their gates. And I've seen a lot of people complain like, well, you can buy your way into high score. For me personally, high score in this life is fun. I don't need any device, I don't need any game to give me a score to tell me how well I'm doing. A long time ago, I set out to be an emotional millionaire, and I have made that 10 times over. Anyone complaining about paying for high score, in my eyes, they just don't get Disneyland. Because to me, winning isn't about the most amount of points. Every day you get to go to Disneyland. Friend, that's a win, and you're already winning. And I don't need to slay 10,000 spider bots to think, maybe, just maybe, I had fun today. Friends, I'm doing Avengers Campus coverage all week long on the channel. Tonight, I'll be doing a watch along with the opening ceremony. So if you want to watch with a friend, get a little commentary and see if somebody else is reacting like you are, or hang out in a chat with a fantastic group of Disneyland fans, I'll be there for you tonight, going live right when the live stream does, and hanging out with you the whole time, watching it along with you. So watch with a friend. Tomorrow, I'll be doing my Avengers Campus design review, going over all the buildings and letting you know which ones I think are designed to make the long haul and which of these I think are going to have a little bit of a rough time making it a long time inside the parks. We might have accidentally built Tomorrowland 2.0, but we'll talk about that tomorrow. And yesterday I put up a strategy guide. If you're going this weekend, if you're going some of these first early weeks, I put up a strategy guide how you can maximize your time, because now that I know people are buying single tickets, it's very, very stressful to manage and maximize your day out at Disneyland. So friends, until the next time I see you, web slinging, cuffed or uncuffed, I'll see you back here on the channel with more Avengers Campus coverage. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to Club 1313 for making today's episode possible. I appreciate you all.